Welcome Diecast fans, I'm Tom Spanners Watson.
And I'm Frank the Geary Gibbs.
And welcome to episode 51 of the DRN. Now first up, the DIRS has finally finished. If you haven't seen it, there's a link on screen right now, and make sure you go back and check out the races at the other 7 tracks as well. There's plenty of great racing action there.
It sure was a monster event. Thanks again to all of the drivers that entered, and of course the track owners. We couldn't have done it without you all. And another piece of news, Wallside Diecast are no longer with the Wall, but they will be running a Formula E League starting very soon. It is a mail-in, so keep an eye out for details on that one, and you could send your cars into that race series.
And as always, if you're looking for some cool merch, head over to chaoscanyonmerch.online, pick yourself up a t-shirt. Right, straight into drag racing tonight. First up, we've got Scorpio Love Smith in Drag City. So this is the course that he designed to sit in a entertainment cabinet. So it's quite short, but it's a lot of fun.
Miniature Car Racing was back at it, so this is the track that goes down, loops back, and then comes into the fat track and puts on some good racing action.
And Diecast Dragger is outside yet again, this time with his drag track, and he's got a few other camera angles, and it's back to basically where the channel started, which was quite cool.
Gravity Track, shout out to micro racer Abby. They were racing micro machines this week, and it was a lot of fun. Those little cars just bounced around in the tracks. A couple of them stayed nice and straight, but it's a lot of fun there.
My Hotwheels collection added again, so good to see them racing, and there was some very tight racing action on that track.
Now Red Pill had been a little bit quiet, but he was back with some more live drag racing action, so if you're looking for good tight drag racing action, you want to check him out.
Hot Wheels boys have been putting out a lot of the YouTube shorts recently, so check those ones out. And Hot Wheels Calgary with more daily racing, this time on the 4-lane track.
Now Hawkeye Hauler Diecast was doing more drag racing on his 6-lane. This time he was back to normal cars rather than the monster trucks. And, you know, again, this is another one where there's not a lot of fuss. It's just straight up drag racing, if that's what you're into.
Then Campbell Creek Run, back on their drag track again. And this is a really good little track, and I'm really impressed how straight both of those cars actually stayed, considering it's just a fat track.
Now Norman Verne had their huge 50-foot drag track out. Now they must be getting pretty fit, because they put this track up and then pull it down each day, and they're running that distance over and over and over on each of those races.
Over at Blue Line Racing, we got to see the new Equalizer drag track, which was quite cool, but he's still got the Northeast Beast, and there was still plenty of action happening on that track. As always, his races are super clean, super tight, and great quality drag racing.
Extreme Diecast Racing put on the Star Wars exhibition, and Baby Yoda there really struggled. He's a bit too wide for the orange track, but some great racing there. I thought the Stormtrooper might have had it, but couldn't quite pull it off.
Road Rage Racing, who we featured in TrackSpy just recently, had more drag racing action on their track this week. So very tight 2-lane racing and some great speed there.
Then Scrapyard Diecast Racing. So this track built out of all sorts of bits and pieces, literally making it a scrapyard track, but some fun there.
And then finally, we've got Cleveland City Diecast with his 200 truck elimination tournament. So this is an absolute monster tournament. Looking forward to seeing which truck takes out the series. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this.
All right, into tournaments. And we mentioned before the DIRS is finished. So this is just from the Group 7 and 8 from the last video. If you haven't seen it, there's a link on the video right now. But this was Oliver James out in front, and then Glenn Harding comes through here with a just superbly timed overtake to take the win. Snatched it right out from under him.
Yeah, that was just a superb drive. Glenn Harding, one of only 3 drivers to pick up a perfect score, and he did it at the Canyon, which is just incredible. And Top Driver were back at it with their Outsiders races, and as always there was quite a bit of action on the track, from cars spinning, flipping over, but they still had plenty of cars finishing races as well, which is good to see.
Now Monster Motorsports had the Scrappers Showdown. We didn't do very well in our round. I think Phil was too busy just checking out everything that was going on around the track, and it looked like a couple of these drivers weren't paying quite enough attention to what was going on track as well.
Yeah, I mean, Gate 3 claims another victim there. Somebody else got pushed over. A lot of brutal action. It was a lot of fun. Then Live Young Diecast were into their Fast and Furious races And I like the nighttime setup he's got for this. And again, there was a lot of very tight action and some close races right to the end there.
And then over at Sub 4 RA, the JLH Crafts Truck Series was on the Pocono Straight, so a lot of good action going on there as well.
Then Alley Cat with the Garden Canyon run, and this particular run here was really impressive. So this guy backs down, gets around, and actually makes it all the way to the finish line, which is no easy feat. That track is harder than the Canyon.
It sure is. Then WeRaceDiecast running his 6 cars in his hatchbacks tournament, so some nice looking cars there, and the track providing some good racing.
And then it was the final leg of the Formula Special this weekend over at Den Diecast Racing, so there was some big money up for grabs with over $200 worth of prizes. If you haven't seen that series, you definitely want to go and check that one out.
Then the Hot Car Track continues on with his fantastic competition, so this is a no muss no fuss series. It's just music and cars, there's no commentary or anything like that, so if you're looking for good clean racing, head over and check that one out.
Then Tune Tracks Racing doing another short tournament, but I do enjoy this track. Those double curves and then into the fat track right at the end just make it really interesting. You think one car's well ahead and then all of a sudden they'll lose.
Now Bay City Diecast with the Racing Champions, there's been some great action in this series, and again, just love this track. It's nice and big, lots of good overtakes, and those Racing Champions cars look great.
A huge congratulations to 3D Botmaker for pulling in Hankook sponsorship. So he's had some paid advertisements before and some sponsored videos, but this is by far the biggest sponsor he's pulled in yet, and possibly signals an absolute game changer in terms of sponsorship and awareness of diecast racing in general. So keep an eye on the series, it's gonna be great.
Poverty Hollow Raceway, this was the finals of the Spectra Flame Wide Open. If you're not familiar with that series, go back and check it out on Poverty Hollow's channel. There is plenty of racing in that whole series.
Next Gen Diecast Racing, absolutely smashing it out there. He's got a number of videos already doing over 100,000 views, and I noticed one over 400,000 views. That is just incredible. That track just goes from strength to strength.
With just over 20 videos, that is a huge amount of views. Now, Silver Fox Racing, this was one that we also featured in Track Spy just recently. So he's out running tournaments now, so you can check that one out.
Rick's Diecast Racing, we've talked about this track before, and I like this race here, where that car just gets hooked up, but manages to get himself unhooked off the side of the track, and actually almost caught the other guy.
Zelda Diecast Racing put on some good racing action again. This lane track with the switchovers puts on some good clean racing.
And then finally, Diecast Dude Racing with the continuation of the Firegone Fireball. Now, our round didn't go so well. It just released today, so it's not in this report, but Phil Fury spent more time on his roof than he did on his wheels. And these guys here just seem to keep taking out the poor cameraman on the finish line.
Right, into street racing, we're going to start with the Canyon Outlaws. So, Bad Apple and Big Booty here put on a heck of a show. Bad Apple here rolls up on his side, Big Booty clips it back down, and then it was a tight race all the way to the finish. And make sure to check out next week's racing as the top 5 drivers go head to head in a round robin to see who's going to take that 10th spot on the list.
Now 3D and the King of the Mountain series, there was some really interesting races. This particular one here, a very unusual situation where he had a 4-car DNF. It looked like the white car there was going to get out in front and make it to the finish, but just stalled out in that last corner. But it wasn't all total chaos. There was also some great racing. Again, this red car got sideways here and then comes down the straight, pulls sideways, and this beautifully timed overtake up the inside. Would that be an undertake, I guess? Either way, that passing maneuver was absolutely superb.
And EP Videos had more street racing with their underground tournament. I really like this track. It's got phenomenal production values, great camera work, and I like the fact that their races are a little bit different, especially in the way they do their points. It's quite different to any other tournament out there, and there are bonus points for making mid-track overtakes, which I really like as well. If you haven't seen his channel, go and check it out.
Now, into special events, Sonora Diecast Racing had more Batmobile racing, and as always, there's lots of action on the track, and check this one out. The silver Batmobile does almost 4 full rotations in the air, and then you've got the news van just going over there. But look at that, just goes around and around and around, and then hits the Batman bobblehead.
Well, that is just classic Sonora. Then DRC had the finals of their relay competition. If you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. It's quite interesting. And I like the way they've got it set up so the cars pass over and hit the other car to get them going. And a nice little drift there from that Dodge Viper as well as he was going through that corner. And just a beautiful time jump there and very, very clean.
Our good friends over at Flat Rabbit have been doing their own Batman series with a number of races coming out just recently. This particular one is Batman versus the Penguin, and this was the start of a awesome change to the track. Check this out, as they come down to the finish line, they've got a actual working waterfall.
Oh man, that is so epic. That is just brilliant. And just this quick video from Beaverworks, the rock drop jump, and check this mini out. Pulls on its side and then spins around to the finish. Awesome stuff.
And of course 3D Bot Maker has more of his Demolition Derby, so some big hitters out there. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. As always with 3D, incredibly high production values, and I love that overhead projector that he's set up for the additional lighting and effects on the track.
Now Irons Diecast were doing something a bit different, but check out this track. A huge big 6 lane with two 90 degrees, then the big 180, then a 6 into 2 lane into a fat track finish. Looked like a lot of fun.
And then Brunhilde Hills, more of their monster truck series, and I love this track with the way that guy just gets ejected off the side of the track. That is just brilliant.
Yeah, that looks really good. I like that. Bit of punishment if you're a bit slow. Then Main Street Racers had their Carnage Corner race, so a little bit different from them, not their traditional drag race, but still a lot of fun.
And then Marcus Firegon with their monster truck racing, and this was cool. I love the way they run over the cars right at the end there.
Yeah, and then Junkyard Joust to round us out in the special events tonight. As always, a lot of good action over on that track, and again, very high production values.
So into Track Spy tonight, the first one we've got is the Den Diecast Racing. So this one came to us this week. If you haven't seen the channel yet, check it out. There will be a link in the description. You'll notice there's not many links in there now because we are maxing out our word count, so we've had to actually scale it back, and we're just putting select tracks details in the descriptions now.
Now, PlayzINC Racing, we have actually featured these guys before, but it was more when the track was being built. But he is now doing actual races, and there's some great action on this track. I love this. It's mostly made from the Kmart version of the NASCAR track, but have a look at that one.
Okay, into replays of the week. Now this one is from a little while ago. This was from the Van series at Live Young Diecast, and we had to feature this one. That is Monster Motorsports there doing the van stand. So I don't think I've ever seen a car in diecast do that before. It was very impressive.
And then back to Alley Cat Racing. We talked about this car before, but check this out. Does a full barrel roll coming out of that corner.
And then my Hot Wheels collection pulled off a tie in the drag race. So we don't often get to feature drag racing, but that was just really impressive.
And then Hot Wheels Fun at Home, we're doing more stunts, and I love this one, the bus jump over the monster trucks. That bus just doing a beautiful job, nicely balanced, and getting some really good air.
Another drag track, this time from Scrapyard, where the Skyline was first, the Impala was second, and the start gate was coming in a very close third there.
And then finally we had to feature Sneaky Bob here and the DIRS with his amazing gymnastics manoeuvres. That one there, off the nose, off the back of the car with the full pirouette.
That was just so impressively timed, that one.
And then this one here with the twisting, flipping motion. I mean, honestly, he scored 0 points in the racing, but if it was on style, he would have got maximum points because that was just impressive.
Alright, that's enough from us tonight. Thanks very much for joining us. If you haven't been over to redlinederby.com, make sure you head over there, post your races, post your tracks. If you're looking for places to mail into because you want to send your cars to their tracks, that's also the place to go. There are always races coming up, whether it's drag track or fat track. And of course, if you want to be part of this report, follow the link in the description. It's redlinederby.com/go/DSPN weekly. Once you put a link to your channel in that section, that gives us permission to use your footage. You don't need to post every week. Once we've got your details, we'll keep checking for new footage. Alright, that's enough for tonight. I'm Tom Spanners Watson, he's Frank the Guru Gibbs. We'll see you next time.